In Rome, the world said farewell to Pope Francis, a spiritual leader who transcended faith. His death at the age of 88 marked the end of a papacy defined by humility, reform, and a relentless call for compassion. Crowds filled St. Peter's Square in scenes reminiscent of history, united in prayer, reflection, and gratitude. Pope Leo XIV was elected as the first pope from the United States after a two-day conclave that ended with billowing white smoke. But beyond the Vatican's walls, peace remained elusive. In Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky pleaded with allies for more support as Russia's invasion entered its fourth year. Moscow's renewed airstrikes left cities in darkness once more, and hopes of a ceasefire as distant as ever. In Gaza, a fragile truce between Israel and Hamas raised cautious optimism, with hostage exchanges taking place on both sides. The ceasefire brokered by Egypt, Qatar, Turkey and the United States offered a glimpse of peace, but not yet an end to the suffering. Israeli forces still remain within Gaza, with deaths occurring daily from outbreaks of violence.
Israel is very carefully not even to use the word occupation, but overtaking. But those are all, playing with words. Overtaking for a long time becomes an occupation. And nothing is more permanent than a temporary measure. You enter into a place and then you don't leave. And then you always find other reasons, security reasons and others, why to stay.
Elsewhere, the fight against nature's fury turned deadly. Across Mexico, record floods claimed dozens of lives, whilst in Europe and North America, blistering heat waves and wildfires forced thousands from their homes. The year became one of the hottest ever recorded, a warning that climate change can no longer be ignored. Cyclone Ditwa ravaged Sri Lanka, bringing record rains that triggered landslides and floods across the island country, as well as Indonesia and Thailand. In Asia, China continued to flex its diplomatic and military muscle, deepening ties with Russia and asserting itself in the South China Sea. At the same time, India looked further abroad, signing a free trade deal with the United Kingdom to reduce tariffs on goods like whiskey, cosmetics and medical devices, and to increase market access for businesses. The deal is expected to boost bilateral trade by £25.5 billion and increase UK GDP by £4.8 billion annually in the long run.
One of the things that's important is that the UK is looking abroad. It's looking to strengthen its trade relationship with other partners. Crucially, though, it doesn't seem to be working so hard on strengthening its trade relationship with the big market across the sea, across the English Channel, the EU, which is the biggest market in the world. The government doesn't seem ready to take the steps to strengthen those sorts of trade relationships. That could be a game changer.
Europe, meanwhile, was shaken by violence closer to home. Mass demonstrations were met with violent police crackdowns as tens of thousands of Georgians turned out, angered by the Prime Minister's decision to call a 4-year halt on moves towards joining the EU. And in the UK, leaders scrambled to confront the rise of right-wing protests and the relentless pressure of migration. Amid the uncertainty, the world watched as America's political drama once again played out on the global stage. President Donald Trump returned to the world spotlight, meeting Vladimir Putin in Alaska, and later travelling to the UK on a state visit that made global headlines. In Buckingham Palace, the spectacle of diplomacy met the sharp reality of global division.
This has been perhaps the most chaotic year that I think we've seen since the pandemic, or even going all the way back to the 2008 crash. This has been an administration that has literally bulldozed its way through legal, social, and political norms. We are seeing now a president that is single-handedly strangling U.S. democracy, a president that has placed the checks and balances typically held among all three branches of government. He has completely demolished them.
And yet 2025 wasn't only about crisis and confrontation. It was also about innovation, the rise of AI regulation, the fight for ethical technology, and the determination of young voices demanding a say in the future. From COP30 in Brazil to youth-led climate summits in Africa and Asia, a new generation made it clear the world cannot afford another lost decade. From the Vatican to the Volta, from Nairobi to New Delhi, 2025 was a year that tested the limits of leadership and the strength of ordinary people. As the world enters 2026, the challenges remain daunting, but so too does the potential for change, because in a world in transition, every ending is also a beginning. For News Central, I'm Afua Hagan.